Have you ever stopped to think about where you truly belong? We're about to dive into Psalm 87. It's a really short poem, but wow, it is packed with huge ideas that challenge how we think about home, our identity, and even what it means to be a citizen. It's all about a city, but not one built by human hands. This one is built by divine love. You know, we all build our identity on something, right? Our career, our nationality, our achievements. We kind of create our own little city to find our sense of worth. But the Bible, it sets up this epic contrast between two kinds of cities, the one we build for ourselves and the one God is building for us. And Psalm 87, it gives us this incredible peek into God's city. So, every city has an origin story, but this one, it isn't about some legendary battle or a heroic human founder. No, the first few verses show us that this city is founded on something way more powerful: God's unshakable love. Right off the bat, this opening line is like the city's entire charter. It exists for one reason and one reason only. God chose to love it into being. Its foundation isn't built on stone, but on the pure, unfiltered will of God. The original Hebrew here is super interesting. It uses the word yesod, which is a term for laying a foundation. It's the language a master builder would use. And what that tells us is that this city's importance doesn't come from its GPS coordinates or its military strength. Nope, it comes from the one who laid its very first stone, God himself. And here's really the key. The city's glory, its value, comes directly from God's love for it. The Bible calls this a covenant love, a deep, binding, unbreakable promise. And you know, this really pushes back against our modern obsession with the individual. It suggests that our true belonging isn't found by ourselves, but within a community, a people that God has chosen and loves. Okay, so if God built this city, who gets to live there? Who are the citizens? This is where the psalm takes a turn that, I promise you, nobody in the ancient world would have seen coming. The guest list is, to put it mildly, a total shock. So check out this list of citizens. You've got Rahab, which is a poetic name for Egypt, Israel's original slave masters. Then there's Babylon, the empire that would one day literally burn Jerusalem to the ground. And the Philistines, the constant nagging military threat. These aren't allies. These are the sworn enemies of God's people. And then God makes this absolutely stunning declaration about each and every one of these enemies. He says, this one was born there. Just stop and think about what that means. He doesn't just tolerate them or forgive them. He adopts them. He basically gives them a new passport, a brand new identity, as native-born citizens of his most beloved city. So to be born there means you get a completely new identity. Citizenship in this city isn't about your family tree or what country you're from. It's a gift, a sovereign act of God, which means it's his choice, totally unearned. It's like he personally writes each name down in the city's official registry. This just reveals such a core truth about God's kingdom, doesn't it? It expands by changing hearts, not by conquering lands. It's this incredible foreshadowing of what we see in the New Testament, where the message of Jesus just explodes out from Jerusalem and starts welcoming people from every single nation, turning former enemies into family. All right, so we've got a city built by love, and it's populated by former enemies. What's it actually like to live there? Well, the final verse shows us it's not some stuffy place full of rules. It is a place of explosive, joyful celebration. The city is just filled with singing and dancing. But listen to the lyrics of their song. It points beyond the city, beyond themselves, right back to the one who founded it all. Together, they sing to God, all my springs are in you. Now that word springs in Hebrew is mayan, a fountain, a wellspring. And you have to remember, in that dry, arid climate, a spring wasn't just a nice little water feature. It was life itself. It meant survival. So when these citizens sing this, they are declaring that their very existence, their deepest source of joy, of life, of everything, it all flows from God's presence right there with them. And man, that speaks directly to us today, doesn't it? We spend so much of our lives digging our own little wells, trying to find our springs of satisfaction in a career, or a relationship, or in success. The Bible calls these broken cisterns that can't hold water. But the citizens of God's city, they've found the one true spring that never ever runs dry, God himself. You see, finding that one true spring, it changes absolutely everything. And just like that, this ancient psalm stops being just a poem and it becomes a mirror, forcing us to ask some really tough questions about where we're trying to build our home.
So the first question is this: do I actually love what God loves? Do I look at his people, the church, with all its flaws and messiness, and see something beautiful and glorious just because he has chosen to love it?
And that leads right into the second question. Where are my springs? I mean, really, if someone were to look at my life, my calendar, my bank account, the things that keep me up at night, what would they conclude is my ultimate source of life and joy? And all of this really just boils down to one final, bottom-line question. Based on my priorities, my passions, and what I truly love, which city am I actually functionally building with my one and only life? The temporary city of self or the eternal city of God? At the end of the day, Psalm 87 is this powerful reminder that there is one city that can never be shaken, and its glory doesn't come from its citizens, it comes from its founder. Glorious things are spoken of this city, not because the people in it are so great, but because it was built from the ground up by a glorious grace.